Last but not least, I'd like to invite Dr. Chung-hui, the Tung Yuen scholar in Buddhist art and culture, who is also our honorary assistant professor, to present on the topic, the Buddhist text translation in Dharmarakṣa's theme. So, welcome, Dr. Tsui.
Okay, thank you, Venerable Hing, Professor Guangxi, and all teachers and fellow colleagues and all the friends. Thank you for attending the lecture until the last minute. Thank you very much. So today I share with you some of my research. It is related to the early Buddhist scribal culture, and it is also related to Dr. Pu's research. I select one of the earliest manuscripts remain in the world to survey the scribal culture in the very early time when Buddhism was introduced and transmitted into China. So I attempt to explore the scribal culture in the translation and transmission of Buddhist texts in Dharmarakṣa's translation team, based on the case study of the earliest extant Chinese Buddhist manuscript in the world, the Buddha Samgiti Sutra, the 诸佛要集经, with a definite date of 296 CE that was translated by Dharmarakṣa. So the development of the Buddhist manuscript culture can be divided into 4 different phases. The earliest phase, that is the pure handwritten manuscript, and the second phase, that is the block printed manuscript. The third phase is the modern printed books, and then is contemporary, the digitalized electronic version of the Buddhist canon. So in early 20th century, there are several foreign explorers in Xinjiang and Dunhuang. The discovery of the early Buddhist manuscript, it provides the very important archaeological evidence for us to study the transmission of and also translation of Buddhist texts in history. So based on the discovery in Turfan and Dunhuang, there are many different types of the manuscript were written in different languages. So some of the earliest manuscript, earliest Mahayana texts could be dated to the 1st century, which was written in the Kharosthi language. The earliest written in Chinese, it was discovered at Toyuk in Turfan. And the manuscript, it has a certain year with the 296, and also it has a very important written record. It has recorded. It was written by the Buddhist monk Zhu Fa Shou. He written the text based on the original text from Nie Cheng Yuen. So based on the 2 persons' name, we know they are all the Buddhist scribe in Dharmarakṣa's translation team. But the fragment that after the discovery and removed to Japan, it was lost. So many scholars, they doubt the genuine of this fragment. However, in 2003 to 2006, there is a great project was conducted by Lüshun Museum. They discovered 14 more fragments which could be connected with the larger fragment of the 诸佛要集经. So based on the discovery of the 14 more fragments, they discover and identify the fragment and manuscript that was the genuine and remain from Turfan in ancient time. And the manuscript it was preserved in Japan. After its publication, the manuscript was lost. So the discovery by Lüshun Museum became very important for the further survey of the Buddhist translation and Buddhist manuscript culture in nowadays. So based on the examination of the writing style, we already identify it is a kind of the government official writing in standard script writing style. And the writing style, it was already established as the formal and official writing style in the Western Jin Dynasty. In the Western Jin Dynasty, the government, they issue the using of the standard script following the Zhongyou style to write down the government documents. So based on the study of the written style, we further study the writing culture before the Western Jin Dynasty. According to Japanese scholar Fujita Akira, he also surveyed of the writing culture in the Han Dynasty. Because in the Han Dynasty, there are many different kind of the writing style and writing script were used. So the government, they have a certain rule and a very strict rule for writing different documents by using different writing style. For example, the clerical script, Li Shu, it was a typical formal writing used for official documents as a dictionary, ancient classical text, imperial decree, laws, and so on. And the Li Shu, it was also used by the highest level administrative department in government organization, the submitting official document from lower level to higher level department. Another type of the writing style in the Han Dynasty, that is the semi-clerical script. It was used in documents used for daily communication. And another type of the cursive script was used for the document for the communication, such as letter, private documents, and urgent message. So it could enhance faster writing. So based on the definition, and then we know that in the Western Jin, the government, they select the Zhongyou standard script as the official writing style for the government documents. That is the selecting of a very standard form and official and more elegant writing style for writing the government official documents. So based on the study, and then we could further examine in the early Buddhist translation team. So the process for the translation, it was conducted in the Dharmarakṣa's translation team. It could be seen there are several different processes that was identified. There are several different people. They are cooperate together, but they are doing different job in the translation team. There must be a main translator, 主译, and also a person who gave the oral transmission, because during that time, many of the Buddhist texts were brought from Central Asia into China, and many of them were only can be understood by the translator who understood the Central Asian languages. So after the oral translation and transmission, there should be a Bishou, the scribe, to write down the oral translation. And then there will be a proofreading for the final version as the 正义 and 校订. So there are several different work. They were assigned by different people. So the Bishou, it was one of the most important people, the job that was can be seen in the Dharmarakṣa's translation team. So based on the catalog, it was compiled by Seng You in the Southern Liang Dynasty, the Chu Sanzang Ji. It has a very clear records of the ancient Buddhist text translation by he recorded of the translator, the scribe name, and also the helper in the translation team. So based on the survey from Chu Sanzang Ji, we studied the scribe joined in Dharmarakṣa's translation team. I found there are quite a few people they joined with Dharmarakṣa to translate Buddhist texts. Among these people, Zhu Shou, his name was also recorded in Chu Sanzang Ji, and he was also one of the scribe in Dharmarakṣa's translation team. So based on the examination of the scribe's name, we can find there is an increasing number of foreign Buddhist scribes from Central Asia join Dharmarakṣa's translation team from the 3rd century onwards, and in the Western Jin dynasty. And Dharmarakṣa, he was assisted by a group of people of various ethnicities from Central Asia and India, as well as native Han Chinese, consisting of both lay people and monastics. So among the Buddhist scribe in Dharmarakṣa's translation team, I noticed two Buddhist laymen are very important. One is Nie Chengyuan, another is Nie Daozhen. They are father and son. They work and join in the Dharmarakṣa's translation team more than 20 years. And another important is Zhu Shou. Some of the Central Asia, the Buddhist scribe, they bear with the Central Asian surname, such as Bo Yuan Xing, Zhi Fa Du, Kang Shu, Bo Fa Ju. So it also draw our attention to further research of the Central Asian Buddhist scribe in the Dharmarakṣa's translation team. So based on the study and based on the survey from Chu Sanzang Ji, the record by Seng You, we know that Nie Chengyuan, he and his son Nie Daozhen and Zhu Shou, they are the three most important Buddhist scribes in Dharmarakṣa's translation team. They helped Dharmarakṣa to translate Buddhist texts, at least 2 or more Buddhist sutras. So Nie Chengyuan, he worked for Dharmarakṣa for over 20 years, and even when his son grew old, he also trained his son to join the Dharmarakṣa's translation team. So Nie Chengyuan and Nie Daozhen, they helped Dharmarakṣa to translate quite a lot Buddhist texts. And among them, Zhu Shou was also very important. Zhu Shou, he joined the translation team in 292 to translate the Buddha Sangiti Sutra with Nie Chengyuan together. So this sutra, it was translated by Dharmarakṣa and to be transcribed down by Zhu Shou and Nie Chengyuan. So this scribe, they joined Dharmarakṣa's translation team and transcribed at least 2 sutras, include Nie Chengyuan, Nie Daozhen, and Zhu Shou. In 292, Zhu Shou and Nie Chengyuan, they worked together to transcribe the Buddha Sangiti Sutra in Luoyang. So here we need to pay attention. Dharmarakṣa Zhu Hu, he was an eminent Buddhist monk translator. He was celebrated by ancient historical record as the Dunhuang Pusa, a bodhisattva of Dunhuang. Although he had a great contribution in Dunhuang, however, nowadays we cannot find any mural or Buddhist cave related to Dharmarakṣa. However, I suggest Dharmarakṣa he established a solid foundation for later development of the Buddhist cave, Buddhist mural, and Buddhist art in Dunhuang. Because Dharmarakṣa he traveled in Dunhuang, Jiuquan, Luoyang, and Chang'an to translate and to educate his disciple. So his traveling footprints also indicate he also brought the Dharma, the Buddhist sutra, along with him. So based on the 出三藏记集, we know Zhu Fa-shou and Nie Cheng-Yuen, when they worked with Dharmarakṣa to translate Buddha Sangiti Sutra, that was in Luoyang. However, when we discover the manuscript, it was discovered in Turfan, in Tuyugou. So there are two possibilities for the manuscript to be discovered in Tuyugou. One is the manuscript was copied by the local people in Turfan. However, we have the more convincing supporting by Chen Guocan, the scholar of the Dunhuang knowledge. He speculates the Buddha Sangiti Sutra, it was copied by Zhu Fa-shou in Jiuquan first in 296, and also then the manuscript was brought to Turfan subsequently. So this is a kind of the transmission of the Buddhist manuscript. So based on the study of the colophon, we can see the written record by Zhu Fa-shou. He has a very clear written colophon of the year and also his vow. Zhu Fa-shou, he had a great vow because he was one of the Dharmarakṣa's disciples. Zhu Fa-shou, he wrote, "May the profound Dharma be disseminated in 10 directions and the great vehicle established forever." So this is how Zhu Fa-shou wrote his vow at the end of the manuscript fragment. So based on the study of the writing style by Zhu Fa-shou, we can see the very elegant and very standard type of the writing style by a Buddhist monk. So this type of the writing style, it follows the Zhongyou standard script style. So this is a very interesting point for us to study the transmission of Buddhist manuscript culture along the Silk Road, especially in Gansu, in Hexi corridor, because this is a very important route for transmission early Buddhist texts into central China. So Dharmarakṣa, Zhu Fa-hu, he traveled from Dunhuang, Jiuquan, to Chang'an and Luoyang to translate Buddhist texts. So this is his traveling path. And later on, in the Northern Liang Dynasty, another eminent Buddhist monk translator, Dharmarakṣa, he also translated a lot of Buddhist texts in Liangzhou. The discovery of the early remnant of the Northern Liang, most important is a group of the stone stupa. They were discovered in different places, but all the places have a close association with the Northern Liang, their geographical location in Dunhuang, in Jiuquan, and also the stupa were discovered in Turfan. So based on the transmission of the artifacts and also the traveling paths by Dharmarakṣa, we know that in the early time, many Buddhist masters, they travel along the Silk Road. They also brought Buddhist texts from one place to another. And the translation in early time by the oral tradition in Dharmarakṣa's translation team can be also found in one very vivid depiction of the Buddhist monk. He dictates the Buddhist text, and there are 4 monks in front of the master, and they are copying and transcribe the Buddhist text from the master. So during the process, there is a flying angel flying above. So this is a very interesting images discovered in Xinjiang. It also gives us an image of the ancient Buddhist scribal culture during the early time. Because during this time period, there is no very formal and standardized of the organization of Buddhist translation team. Many of the Buddhist monks, they transcribe and wrote down the Buddhist text in the Buddhist cave temple. So we can find the image of the Buddhist monk. They are copying sutra in Buddhist temple, cave temple, and also even the flying angel flying and carrying with a pen. So it shows that this is an auspicious sign for the Buddhist translation during the process. And this kind of the culture, it can be still found in Sri Lanka. We can find the young Buddhist monk, they are learning the writing skill to copy the Buddhist sutra. And in Xinjiang, the mural painting, they are also using this kind of palm leaf or birch bark leaf to copy the sutra. So the using of the pen or brush, that is also seen in the mural painting. But this kind of the stylus pen, it's still preserved nowadays and in Sri Lanka and also in some southern Theravada tradition country. They are also using this kind of the writing tool for copying the text. And the manuscript that were used, that were created with the birch bark leaf or palm leaf, they can be dated to the 7th to 8th century based on the discovery from the Dunhuang Library cave. So we know that this culture, it was preserved quite late in the Buddhist cave temple in Dunhuang and also in Xinjiang. So the writing culture, that is a very essential part for the Buddhist education in early Buddhist cave temple. We can see there are some of the Buddhist scribes in Tibetan or in Sri Lanka. They still use the very ancient way to copy the Buddhist text. And this is a kind of the education from very, very young age in Buddhist temple. So I conclude today's topic. The first point is the Buddhist scribe education was conducted in Buddhist temple, the Buddhist cave temple, and also the Buddhist monks. They also copy the Buddhist text in Buddhist cave temple. And in the translation and transmission of the Buddhist manuscript, it can be found and identified from the early dated manuscript as early as in Dharmarakṣa's translation team. And also some of the manuscript with the colophon recorded the scribe's prayer or scribe's great vow. That is the bodhicitta, the state of mind of bodhisattva who pursue the Buddhahood in order to benefit others. So let me sincere grateful for Dong Yuen for supporting the Buddhist education and wish that all the Dharma will benefit all sentient beings. Thank you all for your participation until the last minute. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tsui, and thank you once again to all our speakers today for their insightful presentation and sharing. Could we give a big round of applause again to all our speakers? Thank you so much.